Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Respectable Street Subculture Radio. I am Brian Jacobs, and tonight we have...
The Koffin Katz. Oh, there I am.
There
the
you
Koffin
are.
Katz, there we are.
There you are. You would think you know how to use a mic after all these years.
Yeah, these big shirts like this, I never know how hot they are, so I don't want to get right up on
it.
it.
Yeah, no, you got to eat them. So yes, tonight we have the Koffin Katz. You are?
I'm Vic. I play the bass and I sing.
Yep, and I'm Tommy. Play the guitar.
And where's our timekeeper tonight?
He's getting dressed.
He's the high maintenance one?
Yeah, he's doing his hair, you know.
Yes. Very, very good. Well, I'll edit that part out.
Oh, sorry. I did not know that.
I won't. So, Koffin Katz, psychobilly band out of
Detroit. Yep. Yeah, we started in 2003, and by 2004 we were touring coast to coast, and we haven't stopped.
That's awesome. So let's talk a little bit about the origins of the band, influences. First album you remember buying.
Yeah.
Whatever you feel like throwing at me.
So I can tell you the year. It was 94. That was the year that alternative radio, punk rock, broke onto the regular radio. And for a kid like me growing up in Michigan, kind of not in like a city or anything like that, I took right to listening to that stuff on the radio. And I was like, this is the music that I like. And later that year for Christmas, I remember my first two CDs were Bad Religion, Stranger Than Fiction, and Offspring Smash, which were new releases at that time. So that was kind of what set me wanting to, get into punk rock and ultimately wanting to be in a band. And then a couple years after that, I got into Reverend Horton Heat, Stray Cats, Living End, and then Necromantics and Tiger Army came along and just kind of laid out the groundwork for what Koffin Katz would become.
And how about yourself?
I think it was right around the same year as him, and I ended up getting into there as a local band back just down the street. It was my buddy's cousin, and they're called the Gutter Punks. So that was like my introduction to like, oh my God, you can play three chords, and this is great. And then I turned right into Pennywise. It was the Purple album. It was the first one I got, and it just rocketed it from there. That's all I wanted, just punk rock, and here we are.
The story sounds awfully familiar.
Yeah. Sure, I'm not the only one.
I think I was 14 years old, and Skinhead handed me a mixtape.
Yeah.
DRI, 7 Seconds.
All the classics.
You always remember that, that turning point where it was like, I was listening. Before that, I was listening whatever was on the radio or whatever my parents had on. Like rock radio at that time had Enter Sandman on nonstop and Guns N' Roses nonstop. And Smells Like Teen Spirit. You heard that like every other song, and so. And I was like, okay, I dig this stuff, but it wasn't calling to me like the same way when you heard, Green Day first hit the radio and stuff like that.
Absolutely. I know I listened to music a lot as a kid, but it was never part of my identity until this mixtape was handed to me. And then it was, like I said, everything before it. And
that's just it. Yep. Some people choose to go, okay, cool, music's cool, but I like sports and I like other things, where someone like me and Tommy here, we were like all in. We're like music, band. This is it for us. And him and I met in our later teens and everything, and we've pretty much been working together ever since.
Yeah. That's awesome. We're both in, just local punk rock bands, and we just kind of looked at each other like,
how many bands till you got to this?
I remember it was probably about 11 or 12 bands before Koffin Katz started.
Yeah.
And that's counting like different bands throughout high school, which you could have a band one week and then be in a different band the next week.
Yeah.
So I imagine started off more, all your bands started off more punk.
Yeah.
Until you guys actually learned how to play your instruments, and now year.
Yeah.
Still
Last
punk,
year for
still
me.
learning how to play our instruments.
But you guys are a little more than 3/4.
Yeah.
You're at least 3 and
No,
a half
I-
chords
yeah,
now.
So I play the upright bass, and I started with guitar, but then I kind of came to realization that I just did not have the technical skills to become a good guitar player, and also everybody else that I knew played guitar too. So I made the decision that, all right, one, I love the sound of upright bass. I love the percussive slap and everything, and I love the bands that have upright bass in them. And so I thought, well, it'd be a good investment, because if this whole rock and roll thing doesn't work out, maybe I could play in like a jazz band or something. You know, I would think upright bass players would be hard to find, you know, because guitar players are a dime a dozen, regular bass players are a dime a dozen, drummers were hard to find.
Yeah. Yeah.
And you definitely couldn't find an upright bass player.
I love how you rationalize a business plan into this.
Yeah,
Right, yeah. Young little 14-year-old.
Well, for 16, 17-year-old me that was trying to save up for one of the largest, you know, instruments that it was, at that time, I think it was like $800, which to me that might as well have been $8,000.
Oh, yeah.
Trying to
I imagine at that time, I mean, an upright bass even dictates what kind of car you can have.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah.
100%.
And it has since dictated, you know, it has dictated us being able to do different, fly out to different festivals and stuff like that. We have to make sure that there's, we have to make sure there's a bass out there, and the bass that I play is very specific. So it's come down to me actually having different upright basses living in different parts of the world.
Oh my God!
I have one that. Well, we have actually. It's funny. We have one that lives in Jacksonville, and then we have one that lives in Las Vegas. We have one that lives in Italy, for when we fly out for our European tours. And
So tell me how that works.
um,
Besides the obvious, we've got one in Italy, one in Jacksonville, and one in Vegas.
Yeah.
I figured that part out.
yeah. So when we so say we're touring the U.S. It used to be hop in the van and trailer and just go. And the older that we've gotten, with having priorities at home, we can't be out 300 days out of the year like we used to be.
Right.
And so now we split our tours up into, if we're going to be out on the West Coast, we'll fly into Vegas, where we have a storage unit with all of our backline and gear. And we'll rent a van, load up everything, and do like a 2.5 week run, sometimes 3 weeks, and then come home for a couple weeks, go back out. And
Are you still in the Detroit area?
Oh, yeah.
or-
Yep.
Yep. So we usually spend the summer times working our regular day jobs, and then the winter time we're out on the road. So we have a very weird band dynamic relationship, in the sense that we see each other every day, pretty much, whether we're on the road or not on the road.
Yeah.
Our merch guy runs a irrigation sprinkler install business, and so me and the drummer, E-Ball, we work with him. Tommy cleans carpets for a company who I used to actually work for, and they're real cool with letting him go on tour. They were real cool with letting me go on tour.
We figured it out. Like, with Michigan being such a cold, state, in the wintertime, the company would lay off half the company because nobody wants their carpet cleaned when it's freezing.
Right.
So me and Vic would just, we get to tour now. We figured it out at that point in life. Like, all right, tour now heavily. And
Not only do we get to tour, we get the hell out of the snow.
Yeah, and 20 years later, we're doing the damn near the exact same thing. Darn near.
So we got a good thing going, and we've been doing that since we were doing that pretty much since the pandemic shut everything down. Because once the pandemic hit, we were like, all right, well, we can't tour.
Right.
And then Joey, our merch guy, was like, I don't have anybody that's working right now, because everyone went on unemployment. And so we're like, well, we need a job. And then we came over, started working with him, and it just made this. We realized, like, oh, well, this works out. Why don't we just help you out, and then you come and help us out? And now we have a great homogenous relationship here between work and band, and we're real lucky in that sense, because it's that's one of the hardest things about being in a touring band, is being able to pay the bills when you get off the road, because the money, I mean, unless you're a big name act, the money's just not there.
No.
You know, I mean, this is us coming from 2 decades of hard touring experience. Sometimes you win, a lot more times you don't.
Oh yeah.
Right.
We get home next Sunday, and Monday morning I'll be right back at work. You know, just no rest. Go. But
It's cool to hear. I mean, you guys, you're not when you're not touring, you guys are still together. I mean,
Yeah.
and
Oh, yeah.
it's like, I mean, brothers to the end here. I mean, it's a,
If we don't
Yep.
talk to each other for more than one day, we're usually like, "Hey, what's going on, guys?
Yeah, something wrong?
Is something
Something
wrong?
wrong? Yeah,
I
something
mean,
happened?
Like I said, we have a very weird band relationship in the sense that we are with each other all the time.
No,
it's the
that's-
closest thing to brothers I have.
that's fantastic. I mean, you hear so many people that like, I mean, the Ramones. I mean, they're at each other's throats.
Yeah.
It's,
Yeah, well, I mean, we all grew up together, and we all had our moments, but
Oh, yeah.
now we're just pretty much chilled out and like to play rock and roll and like to earn a paycheck. So
that's awesome. Look,
yeah, no overdubs tonight.
Yeah.
Darn it.
Well, I mean, funny though. I mean, I think the mistakes are kind of what sound the best a lot of times.
Yeah.
Oh, we're gonna sound awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Best guitar player you've ever heard.
Well, I mean, with that, I mean, I've always said that like, I don't care if somebody makes a mistake. What I care about is how they fix the mistake. So sometimes, I mean, you break a string, and it's great to see you just adapt and keep keep playing,
Show's
playing
gotta go
through
on.
it.
The most awkward and worst thing is seeing a band throw a fit on the stage. And we do this because we have fun doing it.
Right.
And people pay their hard-earned money to come out and let loose and have a good time at a show. They don't want to see a band up there being all pissy and everything. So, I mean, when things do go wrong, because it's live music, anything can happen. You just go, shoot, and you just laugh it off and on to the next part. You know, you're there having the experience with everyone. It's not like it's not like a massive Broadway production where you just brought the whole house down because you forgot a line. It's like whatever, things happen.
You have any really good shit went wrong stories?
Oh man,
I tried giving my guitar to somebody in the crowd one time, just hammered out of my mind.
We used to drink a lot.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah, there was that one. Oh man.
We almost fought on stage one time. It was overdrank and got on stage trying to kick each other through the amps.
Yep, there's
That
been
was a
those
good one.
nights. Yeah.
Any crazy things happen on the road?
Oh, we just had a gas leak 3
Oh,
days
yeah.
ago, and they stopped the show after we played about 7 songs and evacuated everybody with none of us having our wallets or keys or hotel keys or van keys, nothing. No phones. And we had to go 2 blocks down the road to a different bar to just
They
hang out.
evacuated the whole city block, and it was like 2 hours before we could get back in the building.
Oh my
Yeah.
God.
I was telling these guys, I was like, we've had shows shut down by the police a few times, but this is the first time we've ever had a show shut down by the gas department.
Yeah.
It was
And
wild.
We were on stage playing. We were about one-third halfway through the set, and all of a sudden over the PA, the guy goes, "Emergency, evacuation," and I'm like, "What?" And all of a sudden I see everybody funneling out the door towards the back, and then you could smell the sulfur coming through. And we're like, "Oh no, that's a real gas
Yeah,
leak."
like,
Yeah.
And we
Is this
got
gonna blow up?
Yeah, I mean, it was eye-watering. It was so strong into the building. It was a massive gas leak in the street right outside the building, and it was funneling right in. And
It was wild. Thank God it was North Carolina and not any further north, because we were all in our vests and sweaty and everything.
Right.
And it was like,
Oh yeah, we were straight off the
Yeah.
stage, and then everyone was like, we were out there with the whole crowd, and we're like, well, I guess we're gonna go over to this bar down the street because otherwise we're just standing out here with all the flashing
Hopefully your
lights.
fans like you enough to buy you drinks because you don't have your wallet.
It was a very accommodating crowd.
Yeah.
North Carolina is very accommodating.
Oh yes.
Yeah, they're great.
What city was that in?
That was in Raleigh.
Raleigh.
Yeah.
Okay.
And
Yeah.
I can say we've been, as a band, we've been very fortunate that we still have people that were coming out to our very first shows that we basically consider family at this point. That we've met a lot of cool people along the way, and we don't necessarily look at people as fans and stuff. We look at people as friends when they come out to our shows.
Oh,
It's like one big reunion every time we hit the road and see different groups of people and stuff, and it's cool. We've been able to build up these relationships over the years and stuff, and
That's awesome. Trying to think what else I can pull out of you guys. There's got to be a horror story out there.
oh man, let's see. Well, we were on tour in Europe one time, and our tour transit van got sandwiched between two semi trucks in Transylvania,
Nice.
in the middle of nowhere. And what happened was the semi trucks drive insane over there, and one semi truck in front of us had hit a car that was driving too slow in the fog. It didn't see it, rammed the back of it, and then our driver didn't catch it in time, and we basically stopped just before the back bumper, and we're like, oh, that was a close call. And then you hear skidding behind us, and it was another semi truck basically accordioned the whole van, and we come spilling out of it. And the night before, we partied hard in Romania. I think we were in Cluj-Napoca or something like that. And, oh man, we partied real hard, and like to the point of like alcohol poisoning. And so that was one of the most miserable days of my life, because I broke a rib. Or I did something in my rib area that took like a couple months to feel okay. And I remember having a 2x4 I found on the side of the road and like limping down the road. With this 2x4
crutch.
Yeah. And the van was totaled. My upright base over there, it had snapped in half. Fortunately, I've gotten really good at like gluing and screwing those things back together. But we were on our way to Budapest in Hungary, and one of the bands that we were playing that show with, the Silvershine, they actually came out and rescued us, loaded us up in their van. And we didn't miss the show. We made the next show, and
We've been good at that.
yeah, and we continued on. I fixed my bass. We got another rental van out to us, and the tour continued, battered and bruised. But that was probably one of the more like hair-raising experiences. Besides,
Detroit. We're actually playing with Mustard Plug that's coming here soon. We were playing with them in Chicago, and trying to come home. We had Detroit the next day.
Oh, yeah.
There's a big whiteout. So, it's just snow coming down. We were playing this annual festival in Detroit called Black Christmas at the time, and it's just a bunch of awesome bands. And we just pulled over in a gas station, like let the engine run, keep the heat on so we don't die from frostbite. Slept a couple hours, got up, got coffee, went to the bathroom. Within probably 30 seconds of being on the road, and we had a van and trailer at the time, hit black ice, and thank God all of us were okay, and thank God we're at the front of the line, because after we spun out, about 50 more cars spun out behind us.
Oh, yeah.
So we were at the front of the list for the tow
news
truck.
And everything.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
Massive. This area of Michigan, it's kind of a valley, so it ices over all the time.
Yeah.
It's bad.
It was bad.
And we hit it. And the van spun around. The trailer flipped over. My bass shot out the back of the. It was in a road case.
Yeah,
but
thank
it
God.
shot out the back of the trailer and went skiing down the median.
Yep. And then the van wouldn't start, so we had two options: stand in 2 feet of snow, just hopefully not freeze to death, or get in the van that's freezing, facing the wrong way with every other car spinning out, coming at our van.
Yeah.
So we were just
watching that movie.
Yep.
Yeah, pretty
And
much.
thank God the tow truck came and got us.
Yeah.
There was a decent police officer that took some of us back to the dealership where they
He
were taking
wasn't
our.
decent. He wrote us a ticket.
I know
was
he was a jerk, but
What was the ticket for?
reckless driving.
Yeah.
And we're like,
because an accident, somebody had to get a ticket.
We were seriously coming off an off
That was an
ramp.
act of God.
Going
My
30
eyes
miles
dripping
an hour.
blood at the time. He's like, nope, doesn't matter.
I'm not a fan of the Michigan State Police. I can go on record.
And thank God at that time, again, we had another buddy that had a truck with a hitch, and he drove the 2.5 hours to get us through the what was workable on the trailer, threw that on there, got us to the show just in the nick of the time to grab a shot and get on stage.
Yep.
Didn't have time to clean up or nothing. We still had speckles of blood throughout our faces.
You had a big old gash on, or like rug burn. Rug burn on your forehead from the seat.
Yeah, my row or my bench was the back bench of the van, and the guy in front of me he's a large guy, and when we were about to hit, he ducked down. So I was like, well, this is what I should do too. I caught it in the spur of the moment, and when we hit, I went flying forward into the back of this large man's bench that didn't move at all. So it was just my face smashing against it. My eye was dripping blood, rug burn on my face, but we got to the show.
And I'm sure it was a fantastic show.
We had a
What I
good time.
remember of it, yeah.
Yeah, we had a good time.
At that point, I was like, oh, we're getting drunk tonight.
That's awesome. Again, I thank you guys so much for coming out tonight, and I look forward to seeing you guys in about an hour.
Yep.
Yeah, 2 hours.
The Crank Daddies are going to kick it off. They're a great band out of the Chicago
So much
area.
fun.
They're a hard-working band, great rock and roll sound, and yeah. So
Awesome.
look forward to seeing everyone tonight.
Awesome. Thanks again, guys.
Thank you.
Yep. Thank you.